The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Pascua Pueblo, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38289. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting first on the face of the front bumper angled section, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Just inside that location toward the center, dual air horns. Unit identifier 271. As we move up onto the bumper extension, you'll find hose storage location with Velcro tie downs. Moving to the cab on the outer edge, marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. Into the grille area, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up to the Pierce logo. Directly behind the logo is the hood latch. Emergency warning light cluster directly over the headlight cluster. There are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the A-pillar, you'll find the mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Also a downward-facing convex mirror just over the front section of the passenger space. There is a light bar located across the brow of the apparatus, incorporating your identification clearance lights. Also, emergency warning light bar up onto the roof, and directly in the center, you'll find your spotlight controlled from within inside the cab. General view of the entire side of the vehicle will focus in next onto the cab section. Starting with the front axle is where you'll find a visual sight gauge into the center, steel wheel, and Goodyear tires. Moving to the front bumper extension, side-facing emergency warning light, and also shoreline inlet. As we move to the doors, you'll find easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are the door lock and latch combination, and they are keyed. Right next to that, you'll find the grab handle. To the rear of the driver's seat, you'll find a push-button access panel for unlocking the doors. As we move to the rear cab wall, you'll find an additional storage location in the lower section, directly above that side-facing emergency warning light. As we move directly over the access door, behind the driver's space and slightly above that is where you'll find a recessed side-facing scene light. As we move to the very rear section of the cab, you'll find a water tank LED indicator. Let's move now on to the pump panel area. We'll come back to this in more great detail, and we'll move now to the body section. As we move to the body, you'll find 2 rear stabilizers, one in front and one to the rear of the axle. Same thing with wheel chock storage location, front and rear of the axle. As we move to the wheel, these are Goodyear tires, steel wheel. This is the T3 rear end, and there are emergency warning lights, part of the lower emergency warning lights. As we move up to the rear section, you'll find an emergency warning light at the very rear of the apparatus. Let's move around to the rear portion of the truck, where you'll find on the outer edge marker turn indicator arm, also emergency warning light, brake turn and reverse light combination. Also in the center, you'll also find a inclinometer. This is from left to right. And then all the way up to the top, you'll find rear facing scene lights. Directly in the center, you'll find a backup camera, and then also traffic advisor just above that location. Let's move around to the right side of the vehicle, or passenger space. Full view of the vehicle. Moving into the rear body section. And now moving to the mid section or pump panel area. We'll come back to this in a few moments. And then moving to the front cab area. Let's go back to the very front of the vehicle next. We'll start with the front bumper extension, where you'll find a swivel discharge dry deck material, and Velcro tie downs. As we move to the shoreline inlet, it is a 30 amp and an emergency warning light. To the Pierce logo, where you'll find the latch for gaining access into the hood space, starting on the passenger side, fill location for your windshield wiper fluid, moving to the driver's side, where you'll find the recovery coolant reservoir, also instructions for raise and lower of the cab. Right next to that, you'll find the yellow push button. This is a remote for tilting and lowering the cab. Also a protected switch indicator for raise or lower position. And then just to the right of that location, this is your power steering reservoir. Let's move inside to the cab section next. We'll start on the driver's side, first starting with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information. Just up from this location, you'll find your door lock latch combination, and then electric window control for all 4 cab windows, and a grab handle. Let's move into the driver's space, starting first in the step area, where you'll find a flashlight, and then also when plugged into shoreline power, the battery voltage status indicator will illuminate, indicating battery status. The yellow placard is indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also the fluid type. This is about the right ankle of the operator. To the floorboard, you'll find the mechanical siren foot pedal. As we move to the left knee of the operator, you'll find the engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and display module. You'll also find switches for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, regen inhibit, and engine diagnostics. On the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find your interaxle differential lock. And let's move to the dash cluster, where you'll find on the left your 4-way flashers, ignition and start switch. Just inside that location, switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This engages and disengages all emergency lights. Headlights and panel light. To the opposite side, OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. To the dash cluster, we have your transmission oil, depth level, and water temp gauges. To the right, volts, fuel, front air, rear air. In the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information regarding your vehicle will display above and below the speedometer and tachometer in the tally lights and display screen at the bottom. Let's move just to the right of the driver's position, where you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. Command zone located here, touchscreen, and also function buttons. To the right, Allison transmission pad, pump in, drive indication. And then as we move to the right, you'll find the engine brake on-off switch. Settings for that engine brake for low, medium, or high, mirror heat, front wheel lock, and your radio push to talk button. You'll also find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, the 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, need to be illuminating when exiting the cab for pump operations. Also some caution and warning placard information. Aerial master, stabilizer camera, driver's side, passenger side, cornering lights. Mirror controls for the left and right mirror. As we move toward the center, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we move overhead of the driver position, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 11 feet 3 inches, the length of the vehicle, 44 feet 9.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 76,640 pounds. This also houses the 5-digit job number 38289-01. To the right, additional emergency warning light switches, emergency master, roof, front, side, lower, and upper rear warning. To the right, high beam flash, electronic siren, and an air horn switch. Moving further to the right, additional switch panel for front scene, driver, passenger, rear, and also the load manager. Moving now to the center section, general view of this space. Let's move back exterior. Directly over the front axle is where you'll find an additional access door. Inside this space, you'll find an adjustable shelf and LED lighting. Also inside this compartment is where you'll find at the very top, when plugged into shoreline power, that outlet will be active. General view here of the front wheel. And then let's move into the rear cab section next. Starting first with the door panel, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, electric window control, door lock and latch combination, and then grab handles. Overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, AM/FM weather band radio speakers, 2 rear-facing EMS compartments with roll-up compartment doors, 2 forward-facing seats. As we move toward the center, just below the shelf located here is where you'll find your access for your daily checks for oil and transmission. And then just an additional shot of the rear cab wall, 2 seats located here, and also your headsets and additional storage overhead. In between the seats, you'll find cup holders and resource material access location. And at the rear, you'll find USB outlets. In the lower section of the pedestal, you'll find additional storage. On each side, you'll find a flashlight and also portable radio charger location. As we move to the exterior, extinguisher holder, and then also long-handled tool storage in the upper section. We're down to the pump panel area. Let's start first with the netting area, where you'll find your crosslays. There are 2 located here, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. Would like to point out on this entanglement hazard for crosslay 1 and 2, because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of an entanglement. As we move down, you'll find the front discharge number 1 crosslay and number 2 crosslay. Moving all the way to the very far right, you'll find the recirculating line. That is a twist. And then moving just downward, you'll find your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air, at least 1,000 for best practices. This is your pressure throttle governor. Incorporated within this is a water tank level indicator. Moving just to the right, you'll find in the upper section your pump intake gauge. This is the master gauge. Moving all the way to the right, this is your pump discharge. Once again, master pump discharge gauge. In between the 2 of these are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move down to the lower, you'll find the recirculating line. You'll also find 2 discharges, aerial and large diameter passenger side. Tank fill located on the far right, and then just underneath that you'll find a black speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate to allow you to increase or decrease sound volume. Also, tank to pump located on the far right. And then as we move down again, fire pump primer, air prime. Let's move down on the panel, where we'll find the American flag Eagle Pierce logo. This is the large diameter pump inlet. As we move to the right, this is your headset location for push to talk and plug in. Minimum operation maintenance schedule placard, we'll come back to that, along with the Watrous placard, we'll also come back to that. Moving to the right, you'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve. And then just underneath that, you'll find a danger placard indicating electrocution. The equipment and aerial device is not insulated. Also to the right, 2.5-inch discharge. Moving further to the right, warning, pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. There are also 2.5-inch discharges located on this side. As we move further down onto the placard, once again, the danger placard indicating that the ladder itself is not insulated. And caution, danger, electrocution hazard. Color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Moving further to the right, you'll find the main pump drain, and then just underneath that, the manual pump shift. Let's take a look at the vertical sidewall, where you'll find your intercom speaker, and then just underneath that, the push-to-talk and volume control. Also a warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. Additional switch panels here for scene lights, also an air horn and OK to pump indicator, which is a green indicator indicating that you've engaged everything in the cab properly. Also warning regarding fall. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. As we move to the rear cab, you'll find long-handled tool storage located here. Back to those placards where you'll find the wattress placard indicating the capacity, 2,000 GPM. Minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 PSI. Associated GPM for that test pressure located on the left-hand side of the placard. On the right-hand side, you'll find the associated RPM. While in this process, in testing, you'll find a governed speed of 2,100 RPMs. Access here to gain access up to the platform. As we move just to the right, you'll find additional access here. These are all of your overrides. They are color-coded and labeled, matching the placard on the rear portion of the door section. There is also a significant amount of warning and danger placard located here. Please refresh yourself with those. General view inside to the compartment space. Let's move just to the right where you'll find an additional warning here regarding crush hazard. This is the stabilizer movement here and also an emergency warning light. As you move to the right, you'll find a tool compartment located here, 3 drawers, then also the DEF exhaust fluid only blue cap, 8 gallons. Back down to the rear axle where you'll find Goodyear tires, steel wheels. This is part of the T3 rear suspension. As we move to the over wheel compartment in the lower portion, you'll find SCBA storage location with a retaining strap. Moving now into the rear portion of those compartments to the rear of the axle, bottle storage and also ultra low sulfur diesel fuel, which is your silver cap. Moving now to the next compartment toward the rear, adjustable shelf and a floor mounted pull-out tray. The release mechanism for that tray is located on the right hand side. Also an additional warning, crush injury. This is the movement of the stabilizer and also an emergency warning light. Into the next compartment, a tool board pull-out tray. Release located on the right side also. Full view with all compartments open. We'll go ahead and move around to the rear of the apparatus next. Identifying a few things within this space, we're starting on the driver's side first with your emergency stop. This is directly behind the pan door. Also an override, which happens to be a protected switch. And then just to the right of that location, this is the stabilizer enable switch. And then down at the very bottom, this is a tethered remote. This is for all of your controls for your outriggers. Also to the right, you'll find a warning placard here, direct pull on the rear portion of the anchor. Moving down to the next lighting cluster, you'll find an emergency warning light at the top, brake, turn, reverse. To the right, rear scene light. This is a switch. Moving down, inclinometer for left to right. Let's move now to the bucket area where you'll find scene lights in the lower portion and then also one at the very top section. You'll also find your master stream device, a 2.5-inch discharge controlled via the ball valve. You'll also find at the very top, just under the scene light, a higher advantage point camera. Moving downward from this location, a couple of warning placards here regarding always climb on or off, face the vehicle when doing so. Never ride on the vehicle while it is in motion. In regards to the anchors, direct pull. Moving further down, danger, electrocution hazard. The ladder is not insulated. Now moving into the ladder storage area where you'll find a 24-foot 2-section, 16-foot roof, 35 2-section, and 10-foot folding. You'll also find additional long-handled tool storage and then also hose storage which will pull outward. As we move to the very top section, additional hose storage located in the upper section and also a warning placard here regarding entanglement hazard because of that line coming from a loft. As we move down, once again, just highlighting the danger, electrocution hazard, equipment is not insulated. As we move around to the passenger side, adjustable shelf, pull-out tray. Also within this compartment, you'll find 12-volt access and then also shoreline outlet. When plugged into shoreline power, that outlet will be active. Release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side. Moving now to the next compartment forward, you'll find a toolboard on the rear wall and then also additional storage equipment. Moving forward to that location, adjustable shelf, toolboard on the rear wall, SCBA bottle storage. As we move down, once again, part of the rear portion, this is the T3 rear end. In between the two axles, you'll find additional storage for SCBAs. They're up to 3 bottle storage location here. Moving forward to this location, a single SCBA bottle storage location. We'd like to point out the exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. Moving forward to this location, additional storage. Moving now forward to the next compartment where the stabilizer is located, you'll find a stabilizer camera. Also, warning regarding crush injury because of the movement of that stabilizer. And in the lower portion, an emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning lights. To the right, this is the hydraulic reservoir location regarding its fill status. Moving forward, additional storage in the forward section. As we move just downward from this location, this is also a location where you're going to find the tank to pump drain, tank fill drain, and then also the aerial drain, which is 1.5 inches. Let's move just slightly up and forward to the pump panel area. We'll start first with the cross lays. Once again, there are 2 cross lays located here behind the netting. Cross lay 1 and cross lay 2. We'd like to point out the entanglement hazard because of those cross lays. As we move forward and downward, this is the entanglement warning. Also warning regarding climbing on or off the vehicle. Always face the vehicle. Access behind the pan on the pan door located at the top section. 2.5-inch discharge. American flag eagle is your large diameter pump inlet. We also have a warning placard here regarding pressure hazard. The caps may be under pressure. Please be cautious when removing them. And as we move down to the lower section, aerial inlet, American flag eagle, and then also large diameter discharge. Across the bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharges. We're now moving to the cab section where you'll find on the rear cab wall an additional long-handled tool storage area. Moving forward into the compartment, you'll find long-handled tool storage in this crosslay compartment here, which is transverse. As we move into the cab itself, once again, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, and grab handles. Now moving inside, overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, storage on the rear cab wall, and then also your air conditioning unit. There are 2 compartments rear facing located within this space, and then also just a quick review, 2 forward facing seats. We're now to the forward portion directly behind the officer seat, additional storage, adjustable shelf, and LED lighting. Down to the wheel itself, Goodyear tire, steel wheel, and visual sight gauge. Let's move inside to the space now, where you'll find where the door latch is located, combination for your door lock unlock. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and grab handle. As we move to the floor area, you'll find a flashlight with charger, general view of the dash area. Let's look to the forward section where you'll find the control module for the Go light. That's the light that is the spotlight on top of the vehicle. As we move to additional controls, siren brake, air horn, and radio push to talk. Moving now to the unit radio. Right next to that, you'll find 12-volt access via USB-A and USB-C. Directly in the center is your intercom system master control. Moving overhead, general view, we'll start on the very far right with your AM/FM weather band radio. Moving just to the left, additional switch panel, housing the front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, and rear scene. As we move just to the left of this location, this is the Wheelan Traffic Advisor control module. And then moving further to the left, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker system. All compartments open again. Let's go ahead and move up into the bucket area. We'll identify a few things within this area. Into the basket area, you'll find on the rear wall a placard indicating information about the Ascendant Aerial Tower load chart for waterway dry instructions, and then also waterway charged. Down at the very bottom section, monitor nozzle positions, and then down at the very bottom of the placard information, you'll find asterisk information, for example, icy conditions. As we move to the far right, you'll find warning and danger placard information along with warning information on the left-hand side of the basket area. Also within this area, you'll find storage location for hand tools, additional storage to the rear of the basket on both right and left sides, general view of some warning information regarding tipping hazard, regarding short jacking, and then also fall restraint required when operating within this space. And because of the movement, you'll find a warning here regarding pinch hazard. We'll move now to the forward section where you'll find the controls, general view. As we start on the left-hand side, we'll start at the very top section with the emergency stop, aerial speed, and manual basket leveling, and also your display screen. Ladder control for extend, retract, right, left, lower, and raise. Tracking lights, under basket lights, and tip lights, along with nozzle control for straight stream, fog, up, down, right, left. Master stream device along with a 2.5-inch discharge. On the forward section, you'll also find your intercom system. As we look to the right of that, it is passive with volume control. Also regarding the life eye, life ladder, and life support warning placard information. As we move into the storage boxes on the ladders themselves, there is additional weight capacity limits, both left side and right side. As we move to the aerial, you'll find a 14-foot roof ladder on the last fly. General view here of the ladder, and then looking forward to the cab area. Let's move now to the pedestal area, general view. We'll start at the very forward section with the intercom, volume control, and push to talk. As we move to the control module on the pedestal, we'll start first with the emergency stop, hydraulic emergency power, aerial speed for either normal or fast, and then also to the very far right, the manual aerial control. It is a protected switch. And then to the right, the manual basket leveling disabled. As we move further down, you'll find tracking lights, under basket lights, and tip lights. And then further down, you'll find your nozzle control for deploy, stow, and then also your stream, fog, right, left, raise, lower. Down in the lower section, you're going to find your digital screen and then ladder control for extend, retract, right, left, up, down. On the cover section, you'll find the same Ascendant placard, warning information, danger information, Additional information here for pinch because of the movement of the aerial device, and then also tip over information if you short check. As we move to the rear portion of the cover, you'll also find warning, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. And then also danger, electrocution hazard, the equipment is not insulated. General view here of the entire apparatus with the aerial device up and all stabilizers deployed. Rear section with the aerial device up, so you have additional storage here for hose. Stabilizers partially deployed. The additional images going forward will be that of the chassis and engine area with no additional audio at this point. Congratulations, Pascua Pueblo, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38289. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.